Glad you could come. Our speaker today is Nimisha Pathak of our department. We're looking forward to hearing her talk. She's going to be talking about variational methods of regular generalized fractional Sturm-Liouville problems.
Thank you. First of all, I want to thank the Department of Mathematics, particularly Professor Calvert, that I went to him and then I thought that I wanted to give a talk, colloquium talk, and that was a big thing for me. But then he said, okay, you can come and then you can give the talk. So I'm thankful. And thankful to all of you for coming here. Okay, so in my today's talk, major extent of the talk is on Sturm-Liouville boundary value problem. So let us, okay, first of all, aim of my talk is, actually I'm doing my research in the areas of fractional calculus, and then I came to know about new operators invented by Dr. Agrawal, and then we found some results, and that's why I wanted to share with everybody. So the major content of this talk is on Sturm-Liouville boundary value problem. So let us see for integer order case the Sturm-Liouville boundary value problem. So this is well known that a linear homogeneous second order differential equation of this form, and with these boundary conditions in which this P belongs to C1, Q and W, they are, W is a weight function, P, Q and W, they are continuous functions of X, and X belongs to closed interval AB. And in this case, these are positive, P, Q and W, they are positive, they are known, and not known is only lambda. So for finding the value of lambda for which there exists non-trivial solution of this particular problem, that is called the Sturm-Liouville boundary value problem. And this is not well known to us. Now the question is, why Sturm-Liouville boundary value problem? So it has actually many applications in science, particularly in engineering, mathematics, mathematical physics. One more thing is, whenever we have this type of equation in which if we this equation can be, means many equations actually they are transformed. So for example, Legendre, Laguerre, Bessel function, Jacobi polynomial, they can be transformed in this particular format, and that is Sturm-Liouville equation format. That's why that is important one. Second thing is, it arises in study of problems like simple harmonic motion, vibration of strings, signal and image processing, say for example heat conduction. So if we see this diffusion equation, and if we are solving this equation together with the initial and boundary conditions, then we can say that using the method of separation of variables, it reduces into two ordinary differential equations. So if we see this second equation, and we are having, according to this boundary conditions, we have phi is a function of x. For that we are having phi 0 equal to 0, phi at L equals to 0. So this is nothing but what Sturm-Liouville boundary value problem. So we can say that due to this lambda, we can say that this is eigenvalue problem. So we know how to solve this one. So if we are having, say, this equation with this boundary condition, then the solution is nothing but lambda n equals to n pi by L whole square, and this L is nothing but 1, 2, 3 and so on. So associated to this eigenvalues, we can have eigenfunctions, and they are, say here we are having n eigenvalues, we have n eigenfunctions. So actually this Sturm-Liouville boundary value problem, eigenvalue problem, it depends on the boundary conditions particularly. So this is the case whenever boundary conditions are there, and then we have this lambda and this eigenfunctions. Similarly, if we are having, say, these boundary conditions, that is phi dash 0, that is equals to 0, and then phi prime at L equals to 0, then we are having this lambda n is same as this one, but now the eigenfunctions are different, so that is in terms of cosine. So this is well known to everybody. So this is the case whenever we have the integer order system as Sturm-Liouville boundary value problem. But now the thing is, the fractional Sturm-Liouville theory, it allows to solve more complex problems. So for that, the fractional Sturm-Liouville boundary value problem will come in existence. And see more complex problems, for example, if we see here in diffusion equation. So here this is a diffusion equation, same way we can have wave equation. So in between, if you want to study the behavior, that is mixed behavior, say diffusion and wave equation. So in that case, if you are having, say, the order is like alpha, or order of the operator, and this alpha lies between say 1 and 2, then we can say about the fractional derivative, and then we can study about the mixed behavior, that is diffusion and wave equation combined. So that way it is that is useful, that is fractional Sturm-Liouville theory is useful in solving these complex behaviors and complex problems. Moreover, it will give the simple and accurate models. So on the basis of this, I am going to in my next part, I am going to discuss about fractional Sturm-Liouville boundary value problem. Next will be the generalized fractional Sturm-Liouville boundary value problem. Then I'll show some properties of Sturm-Liouville eigenvalue problem or the boundary value problem and generalized Sturm-Liouville eigenvalue problems. Next is the solution of generalized Sturm-Liouville problem. So first of all, the fractional Sturm-Liouville boundary value problem. So the word is fractional, so we should know about the definitions of fractional integrals and fractional derivatives. So the definition of fractional integral, it is known as Riemann-Liouville fractional integral. So left Riemann-Liouville fractional integral is denoted by IA plus alpha fx. That is nothing but 1 over gamma alpha. This is a plus, so it will be integral a to x minus t to the power alpha minus 1 ft. So where this part, that is 1 over gamma alpha and x minus t to the power alpha minus 1, that is nothing but the kernel. Mostly I will use this word kernel. So this is nothing but what a of xt, and it depends on alpha, so that is a alpha xt. Same way we have the Riemann-Liouville fractional integral, that is right Riemann-Liouville fractional integral. It is defined in this form. Here we have the kernel. This is integral is from x to b, and the kernel is now k alpha tx. Okay. So these are nothing but the kernel. They are fractional power kernel. Later on you will see that this will be replaced by any arbitrary kernel, and that's why they will be generalized ones. So this is a Riemann-Liouville fractional integral. There are actually many fractional derivatives, but here we are considering only two derivatives. First is the Kapitov fractional derivative. So that is in which left Kapitov fractional derivative, that can be written in the form of integral form. This one is nothing but fractional integral, and this one is the derivative term. So this is defined in this form. So let me tell you. Here in this C stands for Kapitov, and in which we are having differentiation first and then integration. So this is nothing but according to the formula of fractional integral we can use here, and then we can find this notation. Again here this is a plus, so that is left Kapitov derivative, so integral is from a to x, and that kernel will be k alpha xt. Same way here we are having right Kapitov derivative, in which again differentiation first then integration, and we have this form where alpha is nothing but the order of the derivative, and it lies between n minus 1 and n. So for example, we want to get alpha equals to half, so half order derivative. So in that case alpha lies between 0 and 1, so we have to take n equals to 1. So here in the definition itself we can say here this is alpha equals to half, n equals to, here we can get n equals to say 1, and then we can substitute and then we can get the notation. Yes?
I think if I understood the fractional integral, I would understand in what sense this is a fractional derivative, but in what sense is the fractional integral a fractional integral? In what sense is that a fraction of the integral I know?
fractional this, yeah, okay. So this is actually the integral part, and then we are using it in the definition of this.
Right, right. So this
So
step I
this is,
understand, but the
yeah.
previous step I don't.
Previous step,
Go back a
okay,
page.
yeah.
Yeah, so I don't understand
Okay.
in what sense for alpha equals 1/2, I don't understand in what sense that's half an integral.
Okay, so here also this alpha lies between n minus 1 and n.
Okay,
So everywhere this alpha is a fractional part.
right.
So in this integral also this alpha lies between n minus 1 and n.
Okay.
And this is the basic, that is the fractional integral definition.
Yes, so I'm trying to
Yes,
understand why
okay.
that's the definition. How that definition captures the intuition of, say, half an integral.
Half an integral.
Let alpha be 1/2.
Okay.
In what sense does this definition capture the intuition for half integrating f?
Yes, half integrating.
Yes, in what sense does it capture that?
Yeah, yeah. Half integrating, half differentiating, that is occurring here.
And
Okay.
can I
Yeah,
come in between? There are many ways that you can think about this, that is a fractional integration. One way to think the fractional integration is to go first integration, second integration, third integration. So you have, if you integrate the function one time, you have one integral. If you integrate it 2 times, you have the 2 integral. If you integrate it 10 times, you have n integration. That can be written as a convolution. That when you have n, it comes out to be n minus 1, and you have 1 upon the gamma n. So the natural choice would be that to replace n with a fraction, if you want a fractional integration. The second thing would be to take the help of Laplace transform. So if you have a Laplace transform, if you take the Laplace transform of integral, you get 1 upon s. You have the double integral, you're going to get 1 upon s squared, and so on. So for the fractional integration, the Laplace transform is going to come out to be 1 upon s to the power alpha. And if you take this particular kernel, it will give you s to the power alpha. So there are some of the properties of multiple integrals are satisfied if you take this convolution or this definition.
Well, thank you both.
So this is the definition of computer fractional derivative. That is again left and right computer fractional derivative. Another derivative is another fractional derivative is the Riemann-Weyl fractional derivative, in which you will notice that no c is here. So this is Riemann-Weyl a plus, that is left Riemann-Weyl, and here we are integrating first and then differentiating. So earlier case it was differentiation inside and then after integration. So here it is integration first and then differentiation. So d is nothing but d by dx. Again alpha lies between n minus 1 and n. So these two fractional derivatives are discussing, and fractional integral. Okay. So after this we should have there are actually fractional. I can say that about I can discuss about fractional Sturm-Liouville boundary value problem. So there are actually different types of fractional boundary value problems, so depending upon the boundary conditions and this nature of this equation. So here if we see in this particular equation we have computer derivative. One can have say in a combination of computer and Riemann-Weyl also. So that way we have different types of fractional Sturm-Liouville boundary value problems, in which these boundary conditions we have a1 square plus a2 square is different from 0, b1 square plus b2 square is different from 0. And again here in this particular type it is taken that alpha lies between 0 and 1. P, Q and W alpha. Alpha again, alpha is a weight function, now it will depend on the value of alpha, and that's why it is denoted by W alpha, and they are the given functions, and only unknown is here lambda. So finding the value of lambda for which it will satisfy, finding the value of lambda and finding the non-trivial solution of this particular problem, which will satisfy these conditions, that is known as fractional stability boundary problem. There are other types that I have just listed. That is, you can see that here we have Dirichlet type boundary conditions. Here we have Newman type boundary conditions, and here alpha lies between 1 and 2. Here alpha can lie between half and 1 also. So these are the other types. Okay, so in this definitions and examples, we have seen that the kernel is k alpha xt. This is of this form, that is fractional power kernel, 1 over gamma alpha and x minus t to the power alpha minus 1. That is the k alpha xt or say k alpha tx, this particular form. So the question is why this kernel, why not other kernel? So for that, say, is it possible to take another arbitrary kernel in place of this k alpha xt and k alpha tx? So the answer is yes. And these operators, that is K, A and B operators, that they were introduced by Dr. Agrawal in this paper. Now let us see the definitions of these operators. So in which here the K operator is defined by K P alpha x, that is equals to R integral a to x. Here it is K alpha xt f t dt, Q integral, this is a to x to b, and this is K alpha tx f t dt. In this case, we are having, say, this P is a parameter set and it is containing A, X, B, R and Q. Later on I will say that this is say P is a parameter set, P set. We can have conjugate set like P star will be A, X, B, then Q and R. Later on we will see. So here also we are having, say, this R, Q, alpha, A and B, they all are, say, some real parameters. And alpha is again the order and it lies between again n minus 1 and n. This is the definition of K operator. This is the definition of A operator. So you will notice that here integration, this is integral operator and these two are derivative operators. So this is integration first and then differentiation, then we have, in that case, this structure is just like Riemann-Liouville fractional derivative. And in this structure, B operator structure, you will see that this differentiation first and integration, then this structure is looking like computer fractional derivative. Now the question is why these operators are said to be generalized one. So in this case, the answer is whenever we are taking in this K operator definition. So if we replace this, if we substitute R equals to 1, Q equals to 0, means this term is now 0. So only this term is there. And integral is from A to X. And this is K alpha xt. So A to X means what? This will be left, and then this A plus, and this is nothing but what? Only the integral form. So this is integral formula, and that is nothing but Riemann-Liouville fractional integral. That is nothing but this. Same way, if we are having, say, R equals to 0, so only this term is there, and Q equals to 1, then we will get right Riemann-Liouville fractional integral. Similarly, in A operator, we have, if R equals to 1, Q equals to 0, then it will give us left Riemann-Liouville fractional derivative. And similarly for this case, that is right Riemann-Liouville fractional derivative. And in the case of, say, D operator, same thing, R equals to 1, Q equals to 0 gives us left capital derivative, and if we are having, say, R equals to 0, Q equals to 1, then it will give right capital derivative. So this way, if we are having, say, considering R equals to, R and Q are different values and different kernels, then we are getting different operators, fractional operators, and that's why they are said to be more generalized one. So arbitrary kernel we can take in this any of the forms, say K alpha tx as say in form of exponential. This is a combination of fractional power kernel and Mittag-Leffler function. I wanted to point it out here. If alpha equals to 1, then it will reduces to simple exponential function. say it can be of this form, sine term, it can be of this form. So any arbitrary kernel we can select and we can use this formula, that is operators A, B and K operators. So let us see the properties of A, B, K operators. First property is they all satisfy linearity properties. So for example, in linearity properties, if we have say C1 and C2 two constants, f1t and f2t, they are two functions. Then we are having kp alpha, c1 f1t plus c2 f2t, that is nothing but what? c1 kp alpha, this is p is again the parameter set, kp alpha f1t plus c2 kp alpha f2t. Same way for A operators and B operators. So the proof is simple. By using the definitions of A, B, K operators, we can easily prove this proposition. Next is integration by parts formula. You know that in classical sturm-Liouville boundary value problem, whatever the properties are there, that is for eigen functions, they closely depends on the integration by parts formula and the choices of boundary conditions. So here also we have the integration by parts formula for A, B, K operators. So in which we are having the two parameter sets. P is AX, BRQ and P star is AX, BQR. So in this case we are having say the integration by parts formula for K operator. So it is like integral A to B GT and this operator, K operator with set P. Then how you will get this one? So this is nothing but what? Here ft will be out. So this is nothing but ft and this operator will operate on now GT. And this P will become now P star. So that is the conjugate set. So that is the integration by parts formula for K operator. Same with the integration by parts formula for A operator. So A operator reduces in terms of B operator. So here for example, alpha lies between 0 and 1. This we are using later on. So that's why here I am explaining say n equals to say 1. Then in that case you will get here minus sign. And this one is say integral function operator, again the function. It will be like minus integral, then this function, and then instead of this AP alpha, it will become BP star alpha. So instead of P, it will be P star conjugate set, and then this GT will be inside, and this boundary here from this we are getting the boundary condition. So this we are going to apply later on. Here we are having the same way for integration by parts formula for B operator. It will reduce it in terms of B, will reduce it in terms of A operator in this way. And in which we are having say ft and gt, they are sufficiently smooth function. Again alpha lies between n minus 1 and 1. So for proving this proposition, we can change the order of integration and we can use the Fubini's theorem. This is actually another one of the property of the kernel. I have taken this kernel, arbitrary kernel, and then the K operator, it satisfies semi-group property. So the semi-group property is nothing but if we are having say the operators and they are sitting in the same set, that is the say here P1 is the P set, parameter set, then if we are having say this thing, then we can add that power. So this is Kp1 alpha plus beta fx, and then K the same way for in the conjugate set P2. So this can be found in the book of Sanko and Kibas. This actually we are not using, but I wanted to show this property, one of the properties of K operator. See, not all the arbitrary kernels will satisfy this property, but some kernels will satisfy this property. Say for proving particularly number 7. So for that we have to take P equals to P2 in the definition of K operator. So we can have Kp2 alpha fx in this particular form. Here we can see this is a kernel. That is a combination of fractional power kernel and exponential. So here if we are having this is the left hand side, then using the definition we can have this notation. we notice that here we are differentiating, we are integrating first with respect to t and then with respect to s. Now changing the order of integration by Frobenius theorem, we can have ds and then dt. If we evaluate this integral, it is nothing but beta. It will turns out to be beta integral, and then we can get this answer, and that is nothing but kp2 alpha plus beta. So this is a semi-group property for k operator for particular kernel. So now with these properties and definitions of generalized operators, we can go forward and then we can say that okay, a regular generalized Sturm-Liouville boundary value problem is defined in this manner. So in which we are having this L alpha. L alpha is nothing but generalized Sturm-Liouville operator, and that is in terms of A and B operator. So here again P belongs to C1, P, Q, they are Q is a continuous function, W alpha is a weight function depend on alpha, and this is important. Px is different from P0, and that's why it is known as regular generalized Sturm-Liouville problem. And these are the boundary conditions. So by selecting the different values for C1, C2, D1 and E2, we can get different boundary value problems. So again, for finding the value of lambda such that the boundary value problem has a non-trivial solution satisfying these conditions, it is known as a generalized Sturm-Liouville boundary value problem or eigenvalue problem. And actually the regular fraction, not generalized one, but regular fractional Sturm-Liouville boundary value problem, we can refer this particular paper. Now I am now considering this particular problem, that is Sturm-Liouville boundary value problem, generalized one, and with these conditions, that is Dirichlet type conditions, in which L alpha is AP to this part is Sturm-Liouville operator. And in this case, now let us see this Sturm-Liouville operator means generalized Sturm-Liouville boundary value problems have the similar properties of Sturm-Liouville, that is classical Sturm-Liouville boundary value problem or not. So for that, we know that some of the properties of Sturm-Liouville eigenvalue, that is classical Sturm-Liouville eigenvalue problem, that the eigenvalues of Sturm-Liouville problem, they are real. The Sturm-Liouville operator is self-adjoint, and the eigenfunctions corresponding to different eigenvalues of Sturm-Liouville problem, they are orthogonal. And I wanted to add that the generalized Sturm-Liouville eigenvalue problem has the same kind of properties. Say, if we take alpha lies between 0 and 1, and boundary value problem that I have noted that 11 and 12, these are the equations we are going to consider. Okay. So this operator is a self-adjoint operator in the L2 space. So for the self-adjointness, we need a inner product of F, L alpha G, so that gives integral 0 to 1 fx, L alpha gx. So here we are using an integration by parts formula for A operator and B operators. So here this is nothing but since alpha lies between 0 and 1, so negative sign will be there, negative, then integral. Then here this px is here, and then this fx will go inside, and this is nothing but bp1 alpha gx, and in this term there is no operator, so it will be like same. Here again using integration by parts formula with this minus sign, now it will become plus, and now instead of this b operator it will be ap2 alpha. So that is nothing but gx, inner product of g, and L alpha f. So this way we can say that L alpha, that is generalized Sturm-Liouville operator, it is self-adjoint. This property again we will use in the next theorem. Next is all the eigenvalues of eigenvalue problem, 11 to 12, they are real. So for example, if we take the eigenvalue, it is complex eigenvalue of this problem corresponding to the eigenfunction y bar, then it will satisfy the equation. So we are having equation number 13, and this equation in terms of lambda bar and y bar. So if we are multiplying this equation by y bar x, this by yx, and if we are subtracting and then integrating from 0 to 1, then we are getting this term, in which now here again by self-adjoint property we can say that this term is going to be L alpha y bar x, here yx, so this is going to be 0, and now we are having this term. So in this integral, due to this term yx the whole square, it won't be 0, so the only possibility is lambda equals to lambda bar, and that's why we can say that all the eigenvalues they are real. Next is another property of this operator is if y1 and y2 are two eigenfunctions of this generalized fractional sturm Liouville problem corresponding to eigenvalues lambda 1 and lambda 2, where these are distinct, then eigenfunctions are orthogonal. So in the same way we can say that here this boundary value problem can be written in this form, that is L alpha yx is equal to lambda yx. If we are having say lambda 1, lambda 2, two eigenvalues corresponding to the eigenfunctions y1 and y2, again they will satisfy this equation, and if I multiply this equation, that is with y2x, this equation with y1x, and subtracting and integrating from 0 to 1, and again using the same self-adjointness property, we can get this term is 0. Now at this time, now since lambda 1 and lambda 2 they are distinct, so this part cannot be 0. So the only possibility is integral of this y1x, y2x dx is 0. So we can say that they are orthogonal. So eigenfunctions are orthogonal. Now let us see about the solution of this problem, in which we have applied the numerical approach. So this particular problem, it can be remodeled as isoparametric variational problem. Okay, the question is why this one? Because if we say that Euler-Lagrange equation of this particular functional is nothing but this thing. That is, for B operator we will get AP2 alpha, this quantity. So now we can remodel this in this particular format with the isoparametric constraint. Now we can find we assume that the solution is of this particular form. We can approximate by this form, that is ymx in terms of ak phi kx, where phi k they are nothing but orthonormal polynomials. So satisfying these conditions and satisfying the boundary conditions also. So that is nothing but canonical delta, and we know that the canonical delta it has the value 0 whenever k and j are different, and k and j equals to 0, then we get 1. So using this thing, now if we substitute this in these two equations, then we can get I as a function of a1 into am, so that is nothing but sigma ak square, that is equals to 1, and j bar in this particular form. So this is nothing but actually j bar, this whole is nothing but Lagrangian equation we can get, in which we can have akj, that is in this integral form containing these operators. So for example, if we consider n equals to 2 here, so if we take n equals to 2, then we will get j bar is a function of a1, a2 and lambda, so that is in this particular form. If we so for the minimization problem, we need to differentiate this partially with respect to a1 equated to 0, we will get this equation. Differentiate this partially with respect to a2 equated to 0, we will get this. Two equations, these are nothing but the form matrix A into matrix A, that is equals to lambda into A, where A is nothing but this A11, A12, A12, A22 matrix. So that is 2 by 2 symmetric matrix, and A is a column matrix. So A1, A2 they are orthonormal. By solving this equation, we get A1, A2 they are orthonormal. We can find lambdas, and then again substituting this A1, A2 here, then we are getting this inner product of y1 y2 equals to 2 means what they are orthogonal. And here we can say that since this is symmetric matrix, lambda they are real. So this way, this is the case whenever m equals to 2. So in general we are having, say, for m, here A equals to m, we are having A is m by m matrix, symmetric matrix, and hence we can get m eigenvalues and corresponding to that m eigenvectors or the n eigenfunctions, and they are orthogonal. And same way, this is actually m, we have approximated, but actually this eigenvalue problem, Sturm Liouville eigenvalue problem, it has infinitely many eigenvalues and eigenfunctions. So these are the similar properties like classical Sturm Liouville boundary value problem has. So in the conclusion, I can say that we have defined the generalized Sturm Liouville eigenvalue problem in terms of this generalized operator. I have discussed the properties of new operators. I have proved some properties of generalized Sturm Liouville eigenvalue problem. They are similar to classical Sturm Liouville eigenvalue problem. I have demonstrated that it has infinite generalized eigenvalue problem, has infinite number of eigenvalues and corresponding eigenfunctions. Then I have introduced this numerical scheme to solve generalized eigenvalue problem.
Other questions?
The set of eigenvalues, do you know that is pretty generalized? Is discrete, countable, or it could be continuous?
Continuous.
No, the lambdas.
Lambdas, yeah.
Do you,
They are infinite.
yes, but the question, are they countable or are they uncountable?
Discrete, yeah.
Why is that? Is it obvious?
They all will be continuous one, because see, for example, for minimization problem, what we are doing, we minimize that one of the particular problem, and then we are getting one eigenvalue. Associated to that, we are getting another eigenfunction. Associated to that, see, one eigenvalue, that is lambda 1, is there in the minimization problem. One lambda 1 is there, we are finding eigenfunction associated to that. For finding another eigenvalue and eigenfunctions, we have to assign another constraint. So it will give another set of eigenvalues, eigenvectors, eigenfunctions. So that way we are having, say, first is the minimum, then after second, third, and that way we are having infinitely many eigenvalues and
The question is not
eigenfunctions.
infinitely, it's
Okay,
whether they are discrete.
countably many.
Yes. That you probably need some compactness of the operator or something. Maybe usually you require some compactness. You know, the linear operator you have is generalized, the integral operator with the generalized term. If that were compact, then that will follow. The discreteness of the spectrum will be a corollary.
Yes, actually there is an
Right.
analysis.
Mhm.
There is an analysis part in which we can show that particular, say, J we are defining, that is the minimization of the functional. Then we show that this functional is bounded from below.
Mhm.
Then we go ahead and then we can say that the compactness of the isoparametric condition, whatever we are having. So from that compactness, we can say that thing, that is countably many eigenvalues are there. So there is an analysis actually. Beyond that, I have added
Sure.
because I was not sure that I will be able to finish it, or I will have some time. So
Okay.
it is this is the whole analysis.
Mhm.
So in which we are using Arzela Ascoli theorem also.
Mhm.
These are
Now this is for general terms, right?
Yeah,
or
but
fraction?
fractional, yeah. All everything is for fractional.
Generalized?
Yeah, generalized case, yeah.
Are there others? Yeah.
Yeah.
What does the generalization get you? Is there some additional situation you can model with the generalization, or is there something that you see more clearly with the generalized version than with the special version?
Okay, in the special version, say for example in the integer case, if we say, then we have the standard format of that particular differential equation. For say fractional derivative case, we have say fractional power kernel only. We cannot take any kernel instead of that is fractional power kernel.
Why would you
Now
want a
the
different
general-
kernel?
Different kernels, say if we are dealing with some other problems, any problem, and if we need that particular kernel, say other than fractional power kernel, then what? Then it is not going to help us.
So why would
Coppito,
you?
Riemann-Liouville, and that's why this is generalized one.
So is there some particular occasion you can think of where you would want a different kernel? I understand that if you want one, you need this. I'm trying to think why you would want one.
Right, actually, we are, yeah, that is a good question. We are searching, yeah.
Okay.
We are searching for the applications in, say, engineering or somewhere else, but we are searching.
These things come in all sorts of different orders.
Is the
Yeah,
convolution one with the exponential and the fraction? Is that the typical
yeah, they are
Choice?
convolution.
for generalized?
Yeah. Say if it is a fractional power kernel, so it will be in convolution form. Another
Then
will
the
not be. So
exponential.
we can use Laplace transform also.
Mhm.
Actually, I'll give one example. In dynamics, we use the Duhamel integral quite often. And if you have the Duhamel integral, you have basically sine, cosine, and exponential. So even for integer case, we can come across other types of problems. So, I mean, we have not found a physical system where we can apply
But it's natural to expect one.
That's what it is. If you can reinvent fraction, then you can imagine a good task.
Thank you. I am informed